Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Developing Life podcast. We are thrilled to welcome Xochitl Ortega to speak with us today. Xochitl envisions an inclusive virtual world where everyone can explore the new technological frontiers with confidence and wonder. I love this so much. A place where all people feel invited, not divided. Her goal is to help everybody feel comfortable and confident with digital currencies and technologies. I know I need that desperately. Xochitl is also the headmistress and makeup artist and makeup coach, color stylist, and hairstylist at the Look Center School in I'm going to butcher this, Artego, is that right?
In Argao.
Argao. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
She has been running the makeup artist school since 2014, and a few years ago, she fell in love with the metaverse and jumped into the deep end as a blockchain guide, applying her teaching expertise to the virtual world. She helps the digitally curious newbies navigate a digital wallet and self-custody options, as well as setting up an avatar. Please give a warm welcome to Xochitl. Take it away, Xochitl.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I am so glad that we're sitting here talking today, and we're going to dive into especially with everything that you are doing in your life and your business, how to find balance with all of that. And it's really important that we're talking about this today because I feel like a lot of us, especially those in the creative field, are going in head first through all this technological and digital advancements that do not seem to be slowing down anytime soon. And we feel compelled to stay plugged in, just trying to keep up. And I think that detaches a lot of us from ourselves. And we forget that a very integral part of us even progressing and being successful is to come back to that balance of making sure that we are ourselves resting and reflecting and recharging and actually just taking care of ourselves, right? So for you, like with everything that you're doing and your hand in a lot of what is, going on today in the technological world, like how do you make sure that you do not overshadow your need for that rest and reflection?
It's tough. It's tough, and I have the feeling that technology has gotten, or the advancements in the different technologies have gotten even faster.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, also, I've gotten older. So I kind of think like these two things are kind of bashing into each other. And it's really important just to get outside is kind of like the easiest thing. I live in Switzerland, so I definitely have to take time outside. And it doesn't matter what kind of weather it is, just being outside. I think that kind of helps to unplug and not feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed. There are some days, if there's something moving really fast, if on LinkedIn, there's a lot of information on one subject and it's coming from many different people and you get many different tidbits and stuff, I get overwhelmed, and I have to switch it off and go outside. That's pretty much what I try to do. Or I would go back to being, since I do run a makeup school, I'm kind of in a creative environment all around me. That tends to help.
Yeah.
So I think just getting out of technology, I guess the getting hit by all the impulses and stuff all the time, you just have to take a break from that. And sometimes you just have to force yourself.
Right.
We get stuck on it. It creates anxiety sometimes. It creates excitement also. I mean, they go hand in hand, kind of like. And but you have to break away from it, and you have to be kind of disciplined and rely on the discipline that you have. Hey, I got to stop this, and I got to go do something else.
That's actually a really good point. To say that you need that discipline to take care of yourself. And a lot of people, when they think about discipline, it's always the work aspect of discipline and not that inner like nurturing and really being committed to that. So that's very important. So do you find that when you do step outside, and I'm really glad you spoke on the fact that things were coming at you like really, really fast, because I thought maybe it was just me and I was just singularly overwhelmed that I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But do you find that once you walk away from all of that speed and all of those perspectives, that if you take that moment to go out, when you come back, do you see a little bit more of, does it make more sense for you? Are you able to find a little bit of focus and your own self-clarity with all the different perspectives, like flying around? Like, how does that look to you coming back to it?
It looks a little clearer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I know what's going on deeper, with whatever technology it is that's coming, and whether it's a blockchain, a new blockchain that's coming out, or a new protocol, whatever, all those things. I feel like it's just less foggy and less. It's less heavy. And I think it must be one of those chemical things for us being human. I'm
Yeah.
so bad at like medicine, but I think it's just getting the oxygen back into the brain and then moving and getting the blood flowing that actually makes everything a little bit less heavy. And like I said, it's not that I know all of a sudden everything that I didn't know before I went outside.
Right.
It's just, it feels different. It feels lighter. It feels like you can move around better, and I can read more clearly. If there's any kind of comments that I have to read, or papers that
Yeah.
I want to read, it seems to be more joyful rather than, oh God, this is like killing me. So
Little less pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
just less weight on you. So I think that's the feeling that I get when coming back into it. And it's not like I
Right.
stay away from it a long time, but it's just enough to where I know, okay, I can go and read something and I don't feel this kind of like pressure,
Mhm.
to understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there something like you can share specifically about like your profession and the thing that you're getting yourself into, and a pivotal experience that you had between an opportunity, in this whole fast-paced landscape, and how you were able to navigate that in order to stay focused on your well-being? Like you mentioned going outside, but is there anything more, that leaned into that for you?
Hmm. I think, more on that probably would have happened, that kind of personal thing where I had to maybe put myself in focus rather than what's going around me, or my professional, experience, was probably when my kids were small.
Okay.
Right now, I don't feel that. As I've gotten older, I've gotten much more brave, and I've gotten much more. I can say no a lot easier now, But when I was younger, a young mom, and with my second child, I was in banking,
Mhm.
and I had to make the choice of having a successful career, making a lot of money, or seeing the children.
Right.
So I think that's my experience that I still carry with me today, that I had to make that. Somebody else made me make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I didn't have to make that choice myself. I had to come up with a solution, but that was the problem that I was presented with, kind of style, and that was 25 years ago. So it's 20 years ago. So it was a long time, but it's still something that I think about, where today I decide.
Right.
I don't let somebody else decide for me, and put me in a position to make that choice. I decide what's better, and I've done pretty good of deciding that I come first.
Right.
Now
That is a very strong stance to have. Yeah.
it's taken a lot of work and a lot of years of just experience and running a business.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a benefit also of being self-employed,
Right.
that I can decide that better. I'm my boss, so I have to decide every week if I'm going to hire myself next week based on my performance this week. And sometimes it's a big fat no, and a lot of times it's great.
Mm.
So I think that I've learned that over the years, that I decide. I decide.
Right. That's actually a really good point, that you've gained that type of experience and that wisdom over the years. And I know from my position in particular, I've come into a space, I think very late in life. So I'm immediately confronted with the pressure of, staying connected, trying to keep up, trying to, stay in pace with everything that's happening.
Hear you.
But but if you were to speak back to those who either are older like me, and are still trying to navigate how to create that balance, or people just starting out, and you're talking about like the young and the eager and those who are actually more prone to just jump in head first, like what would be some of the things that you would kind of share with them now, you having the knowledge and the wisdom to maybe help them not go down that same path and
Yeah.
maybe come to that balance a little sooner?
Yeah. I think mostly people have to have patience with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, everything is so fast paced that you sometimes put the pressure that you have to learn that yesterday.
Right.
You have to be on top of it, every move and we don't have to be on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Take it at your own pace. There are plenty of learning opportunities out there, free opportunities, not always paid opportunities. There are people out there who you can surround and, have a nice circle of influence to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think mostly is that we have to be patient with ourselves, and give ourselves breaks. Everything seems to be that every minute of the day has to be filled with some kind of activity.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't. It's okay to just sit on the couch and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's okay. Enjoy that moment of sitting on the couch doing nothing.
Yeah.
And
I've definitely been guilty of doing that and feeling really, really guilty about doing that.
why do we feel guilty about that? That's something that we deserve.
Exactly. You're
That's
exactly right.
time to just either think about something else or not do any thinking at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay too. Just to do nothing has to be acceptable.
Absolutely.
And I think that has become a sign of laziness for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. That if I'm not doing something this minute, I'm lazy. And that's not true. We're recharging, and we need to recharge.
Yeah, I immediately felt unproductive, and I know that was a wrong frame of mind to have, but it was very rigid for me to not do that and actually feel like my time that I'm taking for myself was earned.
Right.
So that's really tough, and that's a tough thing to sell for somebody who's lived that reality for so long.
Right.
I'm wondering if it has anything to do with how business structures are set up. You think it might promote that kind of sensibility that you have to actually be so engaged? If there was a way that business could possibly re-involve themselves to where they're more concentrated on societal well-being, think that's something that would need to be, kind of starting from that level and trickle down. So,
as far as I don't know if it's really the businesses or the employer's responsibility. I'm not really even, I think it has to come from us. But also, one of the positives that did come out of COVID was that you still do have an opportunity. You have an opportunity now to work from home,
right?
And I see different statistics. Some say, it's a great thing for us. We can we're more productive, and then I see other ones where people are complaining. No, it's better to have everybody in the office. I think if we have a fine medium, if we have a nice middle where, yes, there can be some in-office time, and yes, there can be at-home time to do your work. I think that is a good balance for us. It's not just, hey, we have to go and do the 9 to 5, and the 9 to 5 is never 9 to 5, because you have to commute to get there, and then you have to commute to get home, and you stay 10 hours instead of 8, and so that I think has come back a little bit to where it's a little bit more favorable for us as humans. But at the same time, workers have to demand that a little bit more, that we need our lunch breaks. We need our naps in the afternoon. I think that should be like something that should come back in, those power naps, those things. Those are all things, those are all like recharge moments where we as workers work better.
Right.
We're much more creative, when we're relaxed and recharged, rather than working under the pressure all the time. So I think it's not just the employer who has the responsibility to offer something like that, but we have to take that responsibility ourselves.
Absolutely.
And somehow we have to meet in the middle. And through COVID, we've moved the middle a little bit, but we're not. I don't think we're quite there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard because if you're an employer, you want, you're there to earn money. You're there to be profitable.
Right.
And as an employee, you're there to get paid, because you want to have your job tomorrow so that you can have options. You need to pay your bills. So I understand, both sides, but I think there's somehow we can work better as people and as human if we have these breaks in between, and somehow that needs to be in there somehow. I don't have the right answer for that, the deep answer, but I think both sides have to kind of like compromise and come to a fine medium.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that'll probably look a little bit different on each individual and each individual business as well. So with you being self-employed and your own boss, can you walk us through what that day looks like to you, where you're finding those balances and those naps?
Those naps, yeah. I don't get to take a nap, but I would love to. I would love to. Yes. Let's see. I like to be on a schedule. I'm a schedule person, so I like to have my calendar. I like to be at work at 9 o'clock. I don't have to be there at 9 o'clock every day, but it feels better for me for the way I function. That I'm there at 9 o'clock, and I have appointments starting at 10 o'clock, so that I have 1 hour to kind of, I don't know, get in the zone of my school, kind of the makeup kind of stuff, and then I start taking appointments. I do have a lunch break. I have that in my calendar, and if I don't take it, then it's up to me. That I took that responsibility. I have it in my calendar as an appointment, but I decided not to take it, so it's up to me. And then I do go out I have a small dog that I take care of during the day, so she's at my school, and so I go out. I'm able to go out with her, and I have the walks scheduled, and then I do start mentally switching off at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Kind of winding down everything so that I can get out of my school by 5:30. It takes me an hour and a half to kind of wind myself down.
Make that happen. Yes.
Exactly.
I love that.
I have to have that at 4 o'clock, that I'm out of there. Otherwise, I'll be there until 5:30, and then all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock.
Right.
And being self-employed means that you decide your own hours too. So I love my job, and I love my space, and I can be there all the time. So I have to set those kind of boundaries in order to get home and enjoy my home, which I also enjoy.
Exactly. So, yeah, I love that you schedule a time, like it's in your book, Walk the Dog. Yeah. It's in your book. Yeah. Please eat something. I love that. And it leaves a lot less up to chance. And that actually helps with the discipline that we were talking about earlier with taking care of yourself. That's the discipline, writing it down and adhering to that. So that's really important.
And taking responsibility for when I don't take those breaks.
Right.
Because that's also a thing. It's like, oh, I can eat anytime. It's like, yes, I can actually, but I'm taking responsibility and saying, hey, look, I'm going to use this time that was actually scheduled for myself, and I'm going to use it for something else. So I'm consciously making the decision of not putting myself as number one. And that can be good too, but if you do that too many times, then you're not taking care of yourself.
Right. And I can imagine even wording it in that way creates a sense of accountability to make you actually look at what it is that you're doing, and things are just not, moving past you. without you being aware. So that's really important. That's really important.
Staying in the moment,
Yeah.
I'm in the moment of like, okay, I really have to, this is my lunchtime, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something else instead, and I did it. I made the decision for that.
Right.
So,
Right. No, I love the fact that you being present. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. You actually shared something because I may or may not stalk you a little bit. You shared, it's fine. It's fine. You shared something a few weeks ago about 8 practical ways. I'm looking at the poster right now of being present and making the most of your experiences. And I think that is something that, again, people just in general tend to gloss over and not even understand, the large impact that has, on you and your emotional and mental well-being, so I would love to be able to break this list down with you. Okay. So your post, and this was a few weeks ago, you listed 8 things, and the first one was try new things and to get comfortable being outside of your comfort zone. So can you expound upon that a little bit, and let us know what that is and what that looks like?
Trying, if something catches my eye, then I will try to learn a little bit more about it.
Okay.
And that's how I got into the whole Web3 kind of blockchain and metaverse. Something caught my eye, which was an NFT. It caught my eye, and I needed to learn more about it. Right. So I ended up learning much more about it than I wanted to. And it made me feel very uncomfortable, I have to say, because I was learning something new, and I was moving out of my comfort zone into kind of that next little, it's like a bullseye, into that next zone, which is like your growth zone. And I was feeling uncomfortable because we talked about it before, is that I'm not a young person. I'm longer young than most people, but it got me nervous, and but it was exciting at the same time because it was just this new thing that is here, and will change into, when AI came and all these things came, it's just like, it's new and exciting, but I feel uncomfortable sometimes. So I was thinking, I don't want to feel uncomfortable every day when I'm learning this, and learning something new. So we have to start feeling comfortable, uncomfortable. So that's mainly my message. If it makes you tingle and it makes you feel a little bit, anxious, a little bit, not a lot, a little bit anxious, then that's a good thing.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with that. Everyone should, do things to make them a little bit uncomfortable because that's how you grow. But I do love that you mentioned when you first came into that experience, you just learned a little bit. It did kind of take off for you, and you learned more and more, and that's amazing. But the fact that you initially approached this like, I'm just going to learn this and then see what's next. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, and even myself to a degree, saw it and thought I had to take it all on at once. And I think that pretty much sets people up, to fail, essentially, to burn out, because, they're not ready for that large influx of information, nor really should you. I mean, you should learn it in pieces, to make it more, accessible and sustainable and retaining that information. So that was a really good point. I think
it's like eating food. It's kind of like eating food. When you pig out, then you really didn't enjoy it. And but when you have the little courses, like your 5-course meal, and you take little pieces so that you can enjoy each piece and decide whether or not you want to go to the next, course. But when you're just like at a potluck, for me is like, oh my God, heaven. But at the same time, it's terrible because everything I don't enjoy any little piece of it. It's just the whole thing, So I think that's to take the little pieces and enjoy each one, and then decide whether or not you want to go further,
Right. Nice. Okay. So next on the list, thank you for that. That was a great breakdown. Two, it was prioritize yourself and engage in activities that feed your soul. So when you're breaking that down for me, can you tell me also something specific that you do that fills your soul up?
Going to the mountains, I have to say. I come
Yeah.
from California, and we have beaches and ocean fronts and all that. And I think it's beautiful, but I don't like the sand. And so it never really spoke to me.
Okay.
And then when I was, I think in my 20s, I started going to the mountains and started going camping in the snow and going camping in the summer and just enjoying the mountains, getting up to the mountain we climbed Mount Shasta once and that was awesome, just the mountains. And so here in Switzerland, that's perfect because the mountains are only like an hour away,
Right.
So when I go to the mountains, that feeds my soul.
Yeah.
The way the light changes on the mountains, that you can be staring at the same mountain and the way the sun comes around, it changes the view each time.
Oh, wow.
The air smells different. Yeah. The wind, I don't like the wind, but in the mountains, the wind is awesome. It comes somehow, it just is all around you, so I think that feeds my soul.
Oh, wow.
is the mountains, I guess.
How often do you get to do that?
As often as we want,
so
every
week right there,
possible,
right?
every weekend if possible.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah. And like I said, it can be, the weather changes the view, even if you're sitting at the same place, and it's awesome. And then Mexican food, it feeds my soul too. So anything Mexican food oriented.
Feed you and feed your soul. Nice.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, so the third point that you had made was to identify your passions. Consistently, to do what makes you jump out of bed in the morning. And you already said you love your job and you love what you do. So what else is there?
I think that's mostly what that was the most difficult one to think about, because I think your passions can change, I think, daily, depending on what my plan is. So if I am seeing you tomorrow, then that would be my passion for tomorrow. So I think about that. And that makes me excited that, hey, this is going to be tomorrow. Like looking forward to this. It's like, okay, it's going to be tomorrow. That's great. So that's my passion. So I don't really have like a big, huge passion other than I just love I love to see what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm enjoying today, but I love to see on my calendar in the evening, hey, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. Oh, this is going to be great.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that's passion. Yeah.
I feel like I need to adopt that into my own life. I love the fluidity of passion. That sounds amazing to me. And, like something
for
that
me, and it's
would sit well, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of, I don't know. I thought about that for a while because I was thinking top down. Oh, maybe I have to have this big, huge passion that is just like guiding me, and I don't think that that's the case. I think that every day we have something, and it's like, oh, this is my passion today. It could be my passion for the next couple of days, but I think that it's a bottom up kind of passion that is easier to identify, I think, and feel, so.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe
that's how I'm living my life now.
Good. Excellent. I love it. It's easier.
It already feels like it's going to be a lot less pressure for me. Seriously. Thank you for that. Okay. The next thing on the list you had was to appreciate what you have and acknowledge the good things in your life, big and small.
And that is actually something that is not something that came from me, but it was instilled from my parents. We didn't have a lot of, my parents are first generation American, or I'm first generation American. My parents were immigrants to America, and they worked like crazy. And they worked, but any free time that they had, they were with my brother and I. And so we really learned to appreciate every little thing that we have. And that has been carried over actually from them. It's something that I developed over the years. It was really something that they taught us, and we live it.
Gratefulness instilled early, that matters. That
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, absolutely. And we had everything, but we had nothing, financially, let's say, but we built it together. And that was, we appreciated every little thing, and I'm grateful to my parents for that,
That is amazing. Yeah. And I feel like it's something like a testament to your parents to navigate what would have been seen generally as beneath means or in some sort of survival mode, and for them to kind of build a narrative for you guys, you and your siblings, out of gratefulness and really honoring what you have in front of you and being thankful for that. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredibly tough and just inspiring. So,
and for them, I don't even know if it was really something that they learned. I think they were taught that by their parents as well.
Mm-hmm.
I when I was younger, I did know my grandparents from both sides, and they were the same way, kind of, and so it's good that was carried forward without being a pressure, it was something that's in us.
That's like true generational wealth, honestly.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good one. I like that.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Every so often I come up with something. It's
that's
fine.
Awesome. I love that.
I'm sorry. Moving on. I'm sorry. So the next thing you wrote was connecting with other humans, which this one's tough for me, because I don't go outside, and to build those relationships that create shared experiences.
Yes. I love that. And I think that has gotten easier now with technology, because I don't always have to go outside. If the weather is not so good outside, I can stay inside and still have some kind of experience with somebody. I mean, when we were talking in the pre-show, I met you through a digital world.
You did, yeah.
So, and we met many times in the digital world. You showed me your art gallery, so we knew each other digitally before, and that is an experience. And I always say that, any of the new technologies that we have, it's not taking away from my going out to meet other people. It's just giving me more opportunity to meet people, and experience different experiences and learn from each other, and it helps you. When I talk to you, or when I'm done with this, I'll reflect on what we talked about, and I will have learned something, and I love that, and you can't do that. You couldn't do that so well in the past unless you went out and met with people.
Right.
And I do try to go out and meet all kinds of, put myself in different networks, whether it's an all men network or all women network, or together in technology and makeup. And there's always something that I come out of there and it's like, hey, this was awesome. I'm glad I did that,
Right.
But on the days that I don't want to put on my makeup, or I don't want to go outside because it's too cold, I will do it at home. And that is the biggest bonus that I love being in virtual worlds because of that. Any of the new technologies. I love being able to FaceTime with my parents. My parents live in California. Whenever we have to, if there's some little thing, I got to remember to tell my mom that, I'll just drop her a WhatsApp or a text message, or we'll call on FaceTime. And it's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's incredible that to be cognizant of having all these digital advancements help you to expand your own human connectivity, instead of focusing on all the technology, to figure out how that technology keeps you centered and keeps you human. So that's a beautiful point to focus on.
Absolutely. And, connecting with us and building relationships with each other, that's how we become, like you said, we become rich, with that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that I don't have to go outside.
No.
I actually, if you were to ask Ron and Heather, they would suggest that I go outside of my house. But yeah,
I go out. I do go out, but it's not that I can make the choice to stay in and meet people, or I can make the choice to go out and meet people.
Right.
So I like that. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one was being aware of your surroundings,
Mhm.
that life is happening all around us, and to engage in your senses.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think that's really important, um, not to just focus. I'm not focusing just on you. I'm focusing on your yellow top and what a beautiful color that is. I'm focusing on how I'm feeling while we're having this discussion.
Mhm.
I'm, you have to get out there. I can hear really well, so I can hear all kinds of things around me, and I can smell really good too, which is not always a good thing. But that those kind of things, engaging those senses that we have, and visually seeing the things around us, and hearing the things around us, and smelling. I think that's really important. Instead of just I guess just being on your phone. I like being on my phone. I'm very connected. I like it. But I'm hearing the birds in the background, or I'm hearing, or I'm smelling something over here. To be aware of all of what's going on around you,
Right.
not just be like in a tunnel. I think that's
Yes.
really important. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, like you said, they're on their phone, but they've turned off
Yeah.
or shut out everything else,
Yeah.
and become hyper fixated.
I mean, I love music.
Mhm.
But I can't put my ear pods in when I'm outside.
Okay.
I have to hear the outside.
Okay.
The weirdest thing. Yeah, I don't know why I've tried. I've tried to put my ear pods and listen to some great music and walk outside. I can't do it. So I have to either listen to the nature or listen to the outside and be outside. And then when I'm listening to music, I can do that inside or just listen to music. And then I'm not doing anything else, right? So that is a weird thing. I've tried to figure
That's
that out.
not weird. I think
I haven't
that's
figured that one out yet.
that is something that I think is something that we should experience on a regular basis. And this is why we're talking about this, because people don't allow for those type of things to happen.
Right.
So it's really important.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Not
think
weird.
that's actually to just be aware of your surroundings,
Absolutely.
whether
Yeah.
you're inside or outside, it doesn't matter. Just be around, be aware, that you're moving around in this. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
It's funny you said hearing and smelling. I think those for me were amplified once I became a mother. Like
Yeah, oh yeah,
you smell
right.
everything. You
I
smell
smell it.
everything.
I
It's like a
know.
survival tactic. I get. It doesn't always bode well in all situations, right?
And I can hear everything. Somehow I
Exactly.
can hear everything. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, my mom used to have this, and I thought, oh shit, I thought she was
Mhm.
joking, but it was no, I have
Nope.
it.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. Okay, the next one. Oh my God, I love this. I love this so much. Embrace setbacks as opportunities.
Yes.
Setbacks suck over time. It's very true, but they will help you grow and learn. Yes, ma'am. Talk about it.
Absolutely. And I think that's one thing also, we have to give ourselves time. I used to hate that. But you do have to, time will tell you why that happened,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you won't, you'll knock yourself out if you're trying to figure out that reason why a setback happened when it's too soon. And I
Okay.
think that over time, as you come out of the emotional kind of circle that you're in because of the setback, you will look back at it and you will find out why that needed to happen then. And
Mhm.
it's actually a benefit. It really, I firmly believe that. I'm big into karma. I'm big into things happen for a reason. And usually on the other side of that setback, it's something better.
Right.
I
No,
firmly
I
believe
agree.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
firmly
Yeah, I
believe that.
agree.
I don't know. Everything. There, if anything that has been a challenge or has, hey, I was disappointed about something. If I just give it enough time, I will find out why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's incredibly important to point out that with you being so aware and wanting to be aware of what's going on around you and everything like that, I think that would, if you weren't careful, kind of make you prone to solve a problem faster than you should. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important that you, again, are finding the balance to give yourself the patience to figure things out as they come along and not feel so pressured, to get to the end point and it'll be revealed in its own time,
Right.
so that's
Absolutely.
really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, because we're impatient.
Right.
We want everything all at once, all the time. And that's a tricky mindset to train yourself out of.
Right.
But it's needed. So yeah. Last point that you made, which I think might be my favorite, which is to give yourself a high five and to celebrate, right? And celebrate your progress and achievements. That keeps you motivated. Yeah.
I like to celebrate all the little achievements, and it doesn't matter. I don't know. I've heard one side of the coin. Oh, you shouldn't celebrate all these little things because it's false. False.
Kind of like the participation trophy complex.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, give it to me. I want that ribbon, and I want those little I want those high fives, and they do motivate me. And I think I learned that actually from having children, because that motivated them, kids are not everyday motivated. And so those little high fives, got them, and I that worked. And so I learned that for me, that actually works too. It's like, hey, celebrate yourself in those moments, because that keeps you going for the next one, when you don't want to, maybe. So
absolutely. No,
I celebrate all those. I'm all for the party. Yeah,
every last one.
Every last
by
one.
myself. Give my own self that.
Exactly.
It's funny. I actually oh gosh, who was it? There was an author, not self-imposed. That sounds really negative, but like a guru, like self-empowerment source. And I cannot remember this woman's name to save my life. But she wrote something. She wrote a book called The High Five Habit, and that was pretty much like that same kind of mythology, to where you're giving yourself that accolade, and that kind of helps you motivate and helps you to keep going and helps you to acknowledge. Thank you, Devron. Mel Robbins. I've been following her for like years, but for some reason I couldn't remember her name. But yeah, Mel Robbins, she wrote The High Five Habit. I listened to all her stuff. And I actually have, side story, kind of funny, in my room, I have a mirror. And one of the things she said to do is to look in the mirror and give yourself a high five. And I high five that mirror so often that there's actually still a handprint.
Oh, love it.
On my mirror that I don't even have to high five anymore. I just look at it and like mental high five. But so that I love that. And I think that was your last point being, for me, a really, really important point to have and to hold. And just like you said, celebrate yourself is so important. So important.
Life is tough enough,
exactly. Like,
why shouldn't we not be nice to ourselves, so
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I am going to check really quickly to see, got it. If there were any extra questions. Oh, before I go too far, Heather did want to know exactly what it was that had you go from your initial business of being a makeup artist and then moving into the digital realm. Like, what was that transition like for you? Because that's a really, really interesting, pivot. So
I think, because I originally come from I have a financial background, and deal with, stocks and bonds and money. And then the Swiss Post, the post office, came out with a NFT as a stamp. And my husband came home and he said, I told him, hey, did you see this? And what is that? We didn't know what it was. And he's also in banking, and we didn't know what it was. And so he brought it home one day, this stamp, and looked like a regular postage stamp. And one of his assistants had it, and he brought it home, and I looked at it and I said, well, what is all the fuss about this?
Mm.
Because it was sold out. The website of the post office went down on the day that it was being
Wow.
sold and all this stuff. And I was like, what is this? This is a joke. It's a regular postage stamp, but there was a QR code attached.
Okay.
And I scanned the QR code. And then it started explaining what it was. And then it was that was the physical. And then it also had a digital version, which was the NFT, and so that's what made it so special. So that's how I ended up getting into tech. And I noticed that over the years of technology, whether it's your mobile phone or whether it was your computer or whatever, I'm pretty good at technology. I'm not good at, I don't know how to fix a car, but I know what makes it run. I know how to drive it, let's say.
Right.
That's exactly like technology too. I can usually fix something. And then I noticed that people were asking more and more questions about what are NFTs and what is this Bitcoin? What is all that? And I had a few answers, and I enjoy helping people. And I think that that's what was the whole thing, is that I wanted to help people not get frustrated,
Right.
with the new technologies, and also to experience the new opportunities. And since I'm pretty good at explaining things, on my makeup side, I thought, well, I can explain this to anybody as well. I can explain money things, any kind of stocks and bonds. I can explain that. So why can't I explain digital currencies?
Right.
So that's how I ended up getting into the tech. I think it's just to be needed and being able to help somebody with a different product. Instead of helping you with your mascara or your eyeliner, I can help you with setting up your digital wallet. And I can explain to you how come, Bitcoin is going up. I can explain to you that, hey, it's going to pull back, it's going to go forward. I can explain things like that. So that's how I got into the technology, is that I just noticed that it's just a different product where I can help somebody who might need it. And if the more information they have and the more they understand it, maybe they can do more with it than what I've done with it. So kind of
Nice.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So, because it is a jump, but it's just helping somebody with a new product, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely seems like, to me, that's just who you were, just
it's another
across
product.
the board, and how you applied who you were. That's the only difference. So I like that. I like that. It makes it make more sense.
Right. And I like people to feel confident. And the only way that you're going to feel confident is that if you have somebody who you can ask if you're not sure, then ask me. I'll be your go-to on this, so. And if I don't know, I know somebody who does. That's my thing, Yeah.
Beautiful. Heather had a question. She said, I love the narrative of gratitude, which we spoke on. Have you ever experienced burnout, and can you speak to that?
I don't know. I thought about it because, I've had friends who have been burned out, but it came out differently, in different ways. I don't know if there's one way of seeing a burnout. I don't know. I think I probably was burnt out. If I look back, I was probably burnt out the first year of my second son's life, because I was fully back at the bank, and I was coming home, and I had 2 children. And my husband then was very, very helpful. I mean, he was really great for that. But I think I was kind of like a robot. I don't remember. I kind of functioned,
Yeah.
So maybe that was my burnout, and then when I was no longer at the bank and I was only at home, it took me about 6 months to actually have a normal conversation with somebody.
Oh, wow.
Because I would only be in the bank. I was only talking. Right. I had no hobbies. I was always at the bank. So I think that maybe that was my burnout, is that it took me, and I swam every day then, and the water, I was just listening to the water all the time. And I think that got me, that was my burnout cure. I think, I had to.
Swimming. Yeah.
think that was, I think that was a burnout. If I were to pinpoint that, that was probably, but I haven't had anything like that again, so.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that's that robot. I think that probably that.
I was about to speak to that. Yeah, it seemed like your coping mechanism was to go into autopilot almost.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't remember much of that year. From my second son's, life kind of stuff. It just kind of happened.
Wow.
So I think that's what it was. That was probably my burnout. Just this automation and coping, like you said, the coping mechanism. And that's how it was. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you didn't experience anything like that again.
No, and I think that it helps being self-employed, I think, in that respect, because then as my children got older, I was able to move my schedule around according to their needs.
Right.
And that gave me flexibility. It gave me a little bit of room to avoid maybe a burnout,
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a little bit more flexible. Yeah.
Devron had a question for you. He said, with such an expansive career journey, I'm really interested to know who's inspired you the most across all your collective experience. And he's asking, would you mind sharing one or two individuals that have inspired you?
Probably my mom.
Yeah.
My mom and I, we are a lot alike, and it took me many years to accept that. Accept it. And then it turned out as I got older or became a mother myself or so, that I noticed I was a lot like her, and it was okay. And it was okay. I mean, I always knew it before, but it was okay now.
Yeah. Why do we fight that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even remember which son it was, but I was saying something to him, and I swear my mom popped out of my mouth. And it was like, oh my God, what happened? And but I think she's inspired me because she's smart as a whip, and she's amazing. She's caring. She's smart. She's always also looking for new ways to learn something. And
nice.
She'll be 83.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Still works. She still works by choice. Yeah.
Does she?
But I think she's going to retire this year. I think she's going to retire. We all think
she really loves what she does, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Plus, she just loves being around people. She loves learning. She loves, that. So I think that I have a lot of that in me, and that's from her. And so I think maybe her, but it didn't come until late in life that I realized that she was actually my kind of like my person of inspiration. I'm not 100% like her, which I don't want to be, but I have a lot. So it's nice. Yeah. It's nice coming a little bit of peace with that. So yeah.
Oh,
so I think that she's my main, and my dad too, but I think my mom is who I'm the most alike. So
nice. Yeah. Heather wanted to know what is next for you, and did you ever consider writing a book?
No, but maybe with AI I can have a little help now. I don't know what's next. God, there's so many things. I probably, I would like to, at some point, probably transition the school into less service-based and more product-based, so that I have more time to put that into my technology.
Okay.
Helping more people with that, not just the currencies, but just, I would love to do a little bit more with the virtual worlds. I'd like to do a little bit more talking maybe on some kind of panels or things like that, and just helping people in general with that. I think that that's going to be my next 10-year window. I usually have my cycles, and that's, it kind of
excellent.
Yeah, I think that I'd like to do that. Yeah.
Nice. Oh my goodness.
The book, maybe I'll have to put that for after the 10 years. Maybe.
Is it?
book.
That's your 20 on your book.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. We are coming to our hour. I'm so like that flew by, and I was so engrossed in this conversation. You shared so much. So
Well,
thank you
Thank you. It was
for
great
that.
having you. Yeah.
Devon actually said there's one more question. Did I miss it? Or did you not ask it? Oh, here it is. If you could give 2 to 3 pieces of just human basic advice to people new to Web3, what would they be?
Let's see. Be careful.
Yeah.
Because as humans there are a lot of scammers, like in our non-digital world, but also I think you have to educate yourself.
Yeah.
And try everything yourself. So if you want to get into Web3 and you want to start with maybe a digital wallet, I would set up a digital wallet and go for something that is self-custody, so that you have responsibility for I think that we've given up a lot of responsibility of our stuff, because it's convenient.
Right.
It's convenient. Let's just do it. And it's time for us to take a little bit of that responsibility back to see what it feels like to be in control of maybe a financial option. I'm not 100% into everything has to be Bitcoin or crypto, but it gives you an additional option. And I think that people should take advantage of that. So that I think setting up a wallet yourself, not on any exchange, self-custody, I think that would be a piece where you could start. Read the white paper for Bitcoin. I didn't understand half of it when I read it. I didn't. But it was good to read it. And then I kind of got the idea of what this was created for. So that was the principles and the concepts behind it. Yeah. So I think that would probably be my advice is, do the stuff, not just talk about it, not just read about it, set yourself up. And surround yourself with a good circle of influence, because you don't have to learn it all. It's gotten so big, digital assets, everything. It's gotten so huge. You don't have to be everywhere, but pick something that you like out of it, and make an avatar. I mean, we met as avatars, so make an avatar, walk around.
I was so proud. That was my first move into Web3 was to create that. And I told you on speakers and jeans, because I wanted her to be comfortable.
And remember, I told you in your art gallery that I really loved your carpet. I loved walking around your carpet, and it felt so real. So get out there and try it. And if you find something that you love, in that, stick with it. You don't have to love it all.
Thank you so much for that advice. You make me, and I'm encouraged to dive in a little bit more or again and actually
so good.
Actually stay and not run away because it's too much.
Yeah. Just a little bit, just to find something that you enjoy about it and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again for this. So especially with this last piece about entering Web3, and the things that you are able to offer individuals, can you tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get connected with you, and maybe take this journey?
Yeah, on LinkedIn. Actually, I'm on LinkedIn, and that's where my tech persona runs over LinkedIn, and my makeup persona, if anybody needs any help there, that runs over Instagram. Okay. So I have I'm a double person, but you can find me mostly on those two sites. Yeah.
Okay. And your handle for both of those are?
For LinkedIn, it's Xochitl, my whole name. And then for Instagram, for the makeup school, is the Look Center School of Makeup.
The Look Center School.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much.
What an incredible conversation. I am encouraged. I am more aware of where I need to be to find this balance. And I think I'm ready to take a little bit more on having that sense of, I know how to get there and the pace that I need to get there. You know what I mean? And maybe take a nap. I don't know.
Take a nap, 20 minutes. That's all you need. 20-minute power
It might
nap.
take me 20 minutes to actually fall asleep. Oh my goodness.
You got to set the alarm.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Xochitl. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. And I'm so happy that we got to do this. This was awesome. And
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
All right. And thank you everyone for listening in, and have a great rest of your week.